Test, 1, 2. I've been sitting facing this way. Where the hell did you all come from? Yeah. Whoa. Anyway, we are happy that you are here. We're happy to celebrate Rich Okon because Rich Okon was a friend to all of us. And there's some things I need to tell you about Rich Okon, okay? Richie, I've never known anybody like Richie Okon because Richie loved the music. He ate it, he breathed it, he drank it, he did everything he could possibly do because he just loved the music. And he was a very big supporter of both younger players and folks that had been around the block a few times, you know. And I don't know anybody like him, but I also don't know anybody like him who told the truth as much as Richie did. Did you like that, Rich? No. You know, but Rich, you know. So, I mean, but he was incredible. But the way we met was really interesting because we were both at the University of Miami. We were both young freshmen, didn't know anything about anything. And it was November 22nd of our first semester. And Richie was walking in from the parking lot into the music building. And he had tears in his eyes. I said, "What's wrong, man? What's up?" He said, "John F. Kennedy was just assassinated. That was it. We were both basket cases for the rest of the day because it was so horrendous to even hear it or think about it." And Richie wound up ultimately, and I don't know how this happened, but he wound up in the drum line of the university marching band. And he got a gig. His gig was to play cymbals, crash cymbals. You know, here's a guy who never played crash cymbals in his life, and he's got these 15 or 16-inch crash cymbals that were almost as big as he was. And he's standing there in the drum line, and when I showed him the picture one time, he said, "Burn it." That's exactly what he said. He said, "Burn it. I don't want to even know about it," you know. But the one thing that was funny about it is that we had to wear these horrible uniforms. And in Miami, when it's real hot out, you still have to wear these horrible uniforms. And we had these shakos on top with a plume sticking out of the top. And Richie was looking very disgruntled in this picture. But the thing about it was funny was that sticking out of the back of the shako was Richie's ducktail. You know what a ducktail is? Do you remember? Some of you do. Some of you are shaking your heads. No, don't know. It's a little wisp of hair that sticks out like a duck, you know. I said, "Rich, I can't destroy this picture." He said, "Please, please, don't show anybody. It's not up there." I can't find it. I think that was God's way of saying, "You're not going to show Richie's picture. We got God up here. We don't need, you know, that's it." Anyway, he was just a remarkable human being, and he knew everything. He opened my life up to jazz in a way it had never been opened, truly. I mean, at the university, you're playing university band music and big band, and you know who Ornette Coleman is, and you know who Bill Holman is, and know all these other people. But Richie opened up the whole world to me that was existing in New York and in other places, San Francisco, Boston, everywhere. And I didn't know who some of those people were. I prided myself in knowing who Kenny Dorham was. I thought, I know more than anybody else about Kenny Dorham. Well, Kenny Dorham was a great trumpet player and a great singer, too. A lot of people didn't know that. But Richie was the one who opened all that stuff up, and I was really thankful that he did, because he never wanted anything in return. And when Kathleen and I moved out here, which was in 2006, I was fortunate enough to do a recording called Om Shalom, which was with some really great players, two from up here and two from Los Angeles. And we did a whole bunch of wonderful tunes on this and got really good reviews, etc. Richie was involved every day. He was there every day, and he said, "You know, the drums sound really good, but you might want to tune this other one up higher." I said, No, I'm not going to do that. You want to play? Here, you play. You know, this is the kind of relationship that was very loving, but it's the one we had, and it's the only one we had. And actually, I can't say anything more about that except to say that when I did an album with the pianist who's here today. His name is Mark Copeland. And we did an album called Quartet Oblique, which was with Dave Liebman, Mark Copeland, Drew Gress, and myself. And you know what? Richie financed it. Richie was the executive producer on that album. He didn't want anything in return. He called me about 6 months later and said, "You make any money from that?" I said, "No, not yet. I haven't heard anything from anybody." He said, "But it's not important, you know." But he was that kind of person. He was, in Jewish, we'd say he was a mensch. He was absolutely a mensch. a beautiful guy. And to lose him was a remarkably terrible thing, you know, and I was really, I didn't know what to say about that without getting emotional, and I can't. So anyway, you're in for a lot of treats today. We've got a lot of good musicians here that are going to be playing in Richie's honor, and we're happy that you're here. Like I say, my old bandmate Bob Brookmeyer used to say, he'd say, we're happy that you're here, we're happy that we're here, and let's get started. So that's what I say to you now, okay? So the first group is going to be an all-star group, and it's going to be with Mark Copeland on piano, and Joe Lovano is on saxophone, mutual friends, Harvey S., great bass player, Jonathan Blake, very, very fine drummer, and a new friend for me. I can learn all of the stuff that he plays and then get all his gigs, you know. Anyway, I'm happy to be able to give those to you. And also, we have Jose Clausel. Where's Jose? Here he is. Hey, and a great conga player. So, as well as many other percussion things. So they're going to open up with something, and then we'll talk about what comes next. Thanks for being here again. Thank you again. Once again, Joe Lovano, Mark Copeland, Harvey S., the great Jonathan Blake, and the great Jose Clausel. You can never get enough of this. And that's why we're giving you this next group, which is comprised of people Chris Parker is a person whose music I've known a long time. He's a wonderful drummer and really understands all the beauty in playing percussion and drums and stuff. He's one of those guys who can do anything. And Terrell Stafford is a trumpet player whose work I do know. And Terrell is not only a really fine musician, he's also very much of a strong educator, basically, and teaches at Temple University? At Temple, yeah. And if you know anybody who wants to go to Temple and study jazz, you need to send them there as one really good option, okay? Even though they don't use my textbook, Terrell. Anyway. Also, two people I do not know, but I think I'm going to really enjoy, and I hope you do too, and that's Russell Hall on the bass, and guitarist who I just had a pleasure of hearing for the first time today, a little bit here and there is warming up, is Jotan Silverstein. It'll just take a minute for them to get situated, and they'll be right back. Once again, Terrell Staton, Russell Hall, the face of the bass, and Yotam Silverstein, Chris Parker. That was a lovely version of Skylark. Oh boy, standing up's hard to do, especially when the music is so good. You wouldn't be here today, and neither would I, if we hadn't met this next woman. She's absolutely amazing as a human being. She has got tenacity. She loves the music, and she's the best thing that ever happened to Richie, I think. My wife thinks the same thing. And when your wife thinks the same as you do, that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. Anyway, this person helped orchestrate this entire event almost single-handedly. We never met in person. We were on the phone an awful lot. And she's going to introduce the next actual performance, which I think you're going to find also remarkable. Okay, and that's Margaret Reiner. Margaret, where are you? Here comes the gospel.
I really feel like a preacher here. And I can't speak off the top of my head the way Mike does, but I wanted to tell you a few things about... Oh, sorry. I forgot I have to speak into the mic. So I wanted to tell you a few things about Richie that are not in your program. First of all, when Richie was small, this of course he told me because I didn't know him then, he loved music, he loved playing drums, as you know, but he also loved baseball. And like any Bronx boy, or many Bronx boys, he loved the Giants. That was the team he rooted for, even though the Giants didn't play in the Bronx, and they actually played across the river at the Polo Grounds. And of all the baseball players, of all the Giants that he loved Willie Mays the best. Willie was his hero. And when I was going through Richie's phone to get some of the photos that you might have seen shown on the side of the wall there, I saw the photos divided into albums. So there was the album for the usual friends, family, of course musicians, and an album for Willie Mays. And he had a picture of Willie on his desk his whole life. So as he grew up, you know, I can't read with my glasses or without. As he grew up, jazz became Richie's all-consuming passion. His life was entwined with jazz, and he often said that jazz was his life. And he once told me on one of the worst days of his life, when he found out that his now late wife suffered from ALS, and it was the disease that would take her life, the first thing he did was call the ALS Association to see what support he could get. But the second thing he did was go to a club and hear music to calm himself down. Some of you might remember it, this I must read, the motto of the post office. No, it's the unofficial motto, and if you want to know where it comes from, see me later. As he grew up, where are we? Okay, the motto of the post office is neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night stays these couriers from the swift completion of their appointed rounds. And I always thought that Richie's own motto must be neither snow nor rain nor heat nor ice nor sleet nor hurricanes nor any inclement weather whatsoever will stop us going from hearing the musicians I want to hear when I want to hear them. And that was true because we trudged through some really awful weather to hear some really great musicians play some really great jazz. Now, the drive to hear music contrasted with Richie's feeling toward many other things. So what came to mind was one beautiful spring day, you know, like New York sometimes has, with this blue sky and sun and the trees all blooming at once. And I was dying to go to the Botanic Gardens. And I said to Richie, let's go to the Botanic Gardens. And he said, nah. So I pushed a little bit. And I said, you know, I really want to go. It's gorgeous out. It's crazy to stay inside. To which he replied, I really don't want to go. I've already seen trees. So, not only did Richie love jazz, but he loved the musicians who played jazz, and I think they loved him right back. He remembered their birthdays, he remembered the names of their spouses, if they had spouses, or their girlfriends, and their children, and most important, what he needed to do to make their time at the clubs easiest for them. And he did this out of a sense of professional responsibility. He admired the musicians, he respected them, but he really also did it out of love. And I have to say, Richie was one of the nicest people I ever met. He had a real sweetness in his core, and it made him connect with so many people, not just the musicians, the owners of the club, the customers, the staff of the club. I remember he really liked the chef at the Blue Note. And just people in his life, you know, the liquor store salesman, his tenants, his former tenants, and there was just no one that Richie couldn't connect with. So when I was telling some people, especially people in the restaurants where we hung out a lot and who really liked him, that we were having a memorial for Richie, a frequent response was, oh, I loved Richie. Everyone loved Richie, and so did I. So now I just want to do a few thank yous. I feel like this is my Academy Award moment. First, to thank the musicians, not only for giving up time and your amazing talent, but for giving Richie so much pleasure in his life, so much joy in his life. I also want to thank St. Peter's, because I had been wanting to have a memorial for Richie for well over a year. And I didn't know what I was doing, so I kept running up against brick walls. And once I came here and I spoke with Vincent Carr and Tyler Bassett, everything went well, everything went smoothly. Every time I met with them, I felt a little more at ease, and this is going to happen, contrary to the way I felt when I first came and I met with them, and I apologized immediately for taking up their time and not canceling our appointment because I knew this would never happen. And finally, thank all of you for coming to honor Richie. I especially thank the people who supported him in his illness, his last illness, and supported me after he passed on. And I hope you find as much enjoyment listening to these musicians as I know he would have. And now my job is to introduce the next show, the next act, which is a duo between Yotam Silverstein. I asked him how he pronounced his name. He told me any way I want. And then he told me, well, if we were in Germany, it would be Silberstein. So Yotam Silberstein and the talented and beautiful, both inside and out, Mausha Adnet.
Sem você, sem amor, é tudo sofrimento. Pois Pois você é o amor que eu sempre procurei em vão. Você é o que resiste ao desespero e à solidão. Nada existe e o tempo é triste sem você. Meu amor, meu amor, nunca se ausentes de mim, para que eu viva em paz, para que eu não sofra mais tanta mágoa assim num mundo sem você. Meu amor, meu amor, nunca te ausentes de mim, para que eu viva em paz, para que eu não sofra mais tanta mágoa assim num mundo sem você. Sem você, sem você, meu amor.
Next, we present two different trios, and or do we not? I don't know. You already heard the first trio, but Emmett Cohen and Russell Hall and Jonathan Blake are going to join us just right about now. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bob Marin. My wife Ellen and I weren't really part of Richie's jazz world, although we spent many enjoyable evenings listening to great live jazz with Richie. But Ellen and I met Richie almost 50 years ago, along with our son Jason, who's in the back. And it's almost 50 years ago. Jason's 51 years old, so his uncle Richie was part of his life for almost his whole life. We met Richie when he was dating a friend of ours. That didn't last, but our friendship with Richie lasted all the way till the end. Back in those days, Richie worked at restaurants like his friend Barry Evans' Madeline, and he tour managed the likes of Joe Cocker, Teramisu Hino, and Yosuke Yamashita. Richie lived in an interesting walk-up on Carmine Street. I don't know if any of you had the pleasure of going up there. It was kind of an interesting place. He had a loft bed. He had a separate toilet with a high chain. Then you had to go through the kitchen to get to where you showered. It was an interesting place, but it was a great place, and it was well located in the village. We spent many good times with him there and at Madeline, where Richie introduced us to Penn and Teller, who were young starting magicians back then. They were performing right across the street from Madeline. They would send somebody from the audience into Madeline, and Richie was in on the trick, so he knew them and he had the opportunity to introduce us. We also spent time with him at Chez Jacqueline. Many of you may remember that, or some of you may remember Chez Jacqueline, run by Titu, who made the best lamb chops ever. And Richie visited us in Westchester, too. When we had a pink and white party, Richie rode the subway in Metro North wearing white pajamas with pink hearts and with white powder in his hair and on his face. And I have photos to prove it if anybody really wants to see. We loved Richie and were delighted when he married his childhood flame, Nancy, at a restaurant in the town where we lived, and it was on our anniversary. And I know various of the musicians, including one who's right here, performed at that wedding, and it was a great event, notwithstanding that the air conditioning in the restaurant broke and we were all suffering. Remember that. Unfortunately, we suffered with him through Nancy's awful losing battle with ALS. And after Nancy's death, Richie wasn't Richie for quite a while. But then along came Margaret, whose persistent spirit and love brought back the Richie we knew and loved. In the end, when Richie was failing, we were glad to have been in Florida so we could spend time with him and often with Margaret as well during those final brutal days. Richie's final gift to us was our friendship with Margaret. If Richie were here, he'd be toasting you all with a martini. I don't have a martini, but I really appreciate you showing up for our friend Richie. All right, next, we have, what do we have? We have Mark Copeland, Harvey S., and Mike, who was your previous MC and who knew Richie longer than I did. Okay. Next, we're going to add Dave Stryker on guitar and our singer, Kate Baker.
While I set up, I just want to say something about Richie. I remember when I was just coming on the scene and my husband, Vic Juris, would play at the Blue Note with Larry Coryell, and he's like, just go see Richie. And every time he would play there, and Richie had a way of making everybody feel like family and making you feel so welcome. And that's a very special gift that I know so many of us have felt. And whenever you would walk into the Blue Note, you felt really special. And so I'm thankful. So we're actually going to do a song that Vic wrote. It's, and I wrote the lyrics. It's called Moonscape. Yeah, before the solos. Yeah. You're just good.
Water's edge, the moon begins to sigh. We free our souls with dreams sent from on high. When we were young, our dreams grew wild. The ones we lived cut short by time. Now our hearts will know love's secret smile. Here at the edge where moments measure time, reflecting lives that forever bind. Haunting memories live inside our mind. We travel on the path unknown. Shadows cast our time alone. Now our hearts will know love's secret smile. Here at the edge where moments measure time. La, 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 La-yo-do-de, la-yo, la-yo, la-do-do-de, oh, la-yo, way. La-yo-do-do-de, la-yo-do-de, oh, way. La-do-do-de, oh, la-yo, way. La-do-de, oh, way. La-do-do-do, way. La-yo, way. La-do-do-do-de, oh, la-yo, way.
Mark Copeland. Harvey S.
At water's edge, the moon begins to sigh. We free our souls with dreams sent from on high. When we were young, our dreams grew wild. The ones we lived got short by time. Now our hearts will know love's secret smile. Here at the edge where moments measure time. Here at the edge where moments measure time. Here at the edge where moments measure
Amazing music tonight. Next to perform is Benny Green on piano.
Here you go, Ben.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. There's a lot that I'd like to be able to say about Richie, but I want to keep it brief. I just want to say that anytime he came to a show, it was always a good show. As soon as you saw him. One night, I was actually far away. I wasn't here in New York, and I was feeling despondent. And I wanted to talk to someone. And for some reason, he just came to mind, and I called him, and he picked up. And we talked, and he gave me counsel, and it helped a great deal. Anyway, I love Richie very much. I know we all do. And I'd like to play a very brief medley, a couple songs that have a meaning that I associate with Richie. The first piece is called This Is Always, and the second piece is The Night We Called It a Day. Thank you.
You're about to enjoy a little bit more of Benny and also Steve Wilson, and who's a wonderful saxophonist. I used to play along with his records all the time. I did.
It is a wonderful honor to be here. Richie was a dear friend, and like Benny said, anytime you saw Richie, you knew it was going to be a wonderful night. He was just a beautiful person, and I really cherish his friendship and support throughout the years, and it's just great to see this beautiful community. And we're going to play for Richie now a beautiful Duke Ellington song entitled Heaven. And, you know, we would proverbially like to think that Richie's up in heaven, but heaven is right here, right now. And I'm pretty sure that Richie is here because look around, all these great musicians, there's no way Richie would miss this.
And now I'd like to ask Alan Bernstein to come up and say a few words.
I'm not a musician, so you'll please excuse me. And what I'm going to say is not spoken to music. But I would like to say good evening. Thanks to all of you for being here to honor our good friend Richie Okon. And a very special thanks to a very special lady, Margaret Reiner, for putting this wonderful event together. She's been a loving and loyal partner to Richie. I can't say it better than what Bob said before. She was really instrumental in bringing Richie back to life after poor Nancy passed away. 2 years have passed since he left us, and still when I think of him, I don't think first about the music, the food, the drinks, or the long nights in New York City jazz rooms. I think about the kind of friendship that lasts across the chapters of life. Richie and I grew up in the same Pelham Parkway neighborhood in the Bronx. His reputation as a popular, really cool guy was well known. It was a tight-knit place so that one's reputation preceded actual first-hand encounters. But anyone who walked down his Kruger Avenue block invariably stopped to find out where the music was coming from. After all, you don't walk down the street in the Bronx and hear music coming out of the place. When you got close to his building, there was a wide open window, and if you looked inside, you saw Richie playing the drums, along with one of his favorite jazz albums in the background. Way Cool Richie. His whole block was tuned into his music and his playing, and took pride in his putting the block on the map. My first real encounters with Richie took place in the Boy Scouts. Troop 150 met weekly in our local public school PS 105. And while we were not in the same patrol, Richie's advancement to senior patrol leader put us in direct connection on a regular basis. His uniform was always the most sharply pressed and the cleanest in the troop. In fact, he inspired me to iron my own uniform. However, in spite of all the serious coaching by my mother, and no matter how hard I tried, my creases were never as sharp as Richie's. That spoke to his attention to perfection and detail. We remained friendly but not close through high school, and then he was off to the University of Miami in his great big Pontiac convertible. After that, we lost touch, but years later, by chance or something greater than that, excuse me. Okay, let me fumble. It's not technology, it's paper. We wound up living in the same neighborhood in Brooklyn and found our way back into each other's lives. What followed was years of good friendship, camaraderie over many dinners, lunches, jazz show, and life's trials and tribulations. Both his wife, Nancy, and my wife, Fran, suffered ALS, and both passed away. Our mutual support of one another during this time was absolutely phenomenal for me, and I know it was for him as well. Okay, so by then he had become a man whose life was deeply woven into the fabric of New York City's jazz community. Someone who was far more than a manager at a club. He was a builder of both places and friendships in the world of music that he loved. For years, he worked behind the scenes at some of the city's jazz venues, as most of you know, as floor manager, organizer, mentor, problem solver, and most often as the steady hand that kept the shows moving along, regardless of the particulars of his job description. The people knew him in those roles that all the musicians, I'm sure here know, understood that his real gift was bringing people together. He had an instinct for musicians and for music itself. He knew who should meet, who should play together, and sometimes all it took was one introduction from him for something special to happen. More than once, he helped put bands together from the talented artists he knew and respected. He believed in the music he loved and the people who made it with a sweet vision of what might be possible. He also helped launch new clubs and new ventures, giving life to spaces where music could thrive and communities could gather. Many people in this room have memories of memories tied to those places, nights of great music, laughter, friendship, and connection. And often he was there to make those moments possible. What made him special wasn't only what he did, but how he did it. He understood that jazz is not just a talented performance, but a combination of collaboration, trust, improvisation, and heart. He carried those same qualities into his life. He made people feel welcome. He remembered names. He checked in on people. He cared about the work, but even more, he cared about the people doing it. I'm sure we all saw the birthday greetings he thoughtfully posted for so many people through the years. 2 years have passed since we lost him, but his presence still lingers in the music and the clubs he helped shape, and the musicians and friends whose lives he touched. In jazz, a note may fade, but the resonance of his spirit remains with us. Today we honor the grace of his spirit and his true love of music. These were the defining elements that Richie contributed to the jazz community. Whatever club you go to, mention Richie's names to the hostess or the bartender or the waitstaff, and if they're old enough, you'll see the fruits of the seeds he planted. So please join me in giving thanks for his memory and the enduring community he helped sustain. May his memory continue to swing on wherever great music is played. Thank you.
Our final performance tonight is Stevie Davis on trombone, Russell Hall on bass, Dave Stryker on guitar, and Jonathan Blake on drums. What an amazing evening of music. What an amazing tribute to Richie and the music that he loved and the person that he was. Also an amazing tribute to Margaret, whose persistence made this happen. As Steve Wilson said, Richie wouldn't miss this, so he must be here with us tonight. Thank you to all the musicians, and thank you to the friends and other people who loved Richie who are here tonight. Thank you all for coming. Safe home. Good night.